Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another webinar on RPA awareness. My name is Omar. I'm the product manager for UIPath here at Ingram Micro Australia, and we welcome you to our first session. This will be a series of sessions we'll be conducting throughout this quarter, and we welcome any questions in the process. We have a full agenda to cover today, but before we get into that, let's give it a couple of minutes for people to join in, and let's give it a go then. All right, let's give it a go. Once again, thank you so much for joining our session today. Today's topic is going to be RPA awareness, robotic process automation, and how Ingram Micro can assist you in the process. I'll be joined with Vishal today, who is the Partner Success Manager at Ingram Micro for UIPath. I'm the Product Manager for UIPath here in Australia. We have full agenda to cover, starting from the evolution of the technology to UiPath and what Ingram can do in the process for you to help and get on board. So let's get going. So in today's agenda, we're going to be covering the evolution of the technology. What is RPA? Defining it for people who are new to this technology. How to profile. This third component is going to be really important because that would define which direction you want to take your business into. RPA adoption maturity, you can gauge yourself where you're standing with this, and then we'll talk about UiPath overall products. There are some promos and future events that we do want to talk about, and then we will have our team structure in front of you. We do have FAQs for RPA as well. These are also really important. By the way, by the end of this presentation, we'll send you a PDF version of these slides, and in a couple of days, you're going to get a newsletter that would contain a lot of new information about UiPath and RPA in general. So stay tuned. If you have any questions in the process, you can put it in the chat box, or you can send us an email. We'll be sharing our contacts at the end. So let's give it a go. Talking about the evolution of the technology, let's start with the key breakthroughs in the evolution of technology. Now, whether it was the introduction of the PC or internet or mobile or even cloud. Just imagine data centers without mainframe, or businesses without PC, or software without graphic user interfaces, Uber without a mobile, Salesforce without cloud. I mean, these are evolutionary steps that we took overall in time in terms of technologies. All these techs have effect on our personal productivity, and RPA is a natural evolution to that journey. RPA is the overarching belt that helps you be efficient in your productivity in all these different segments of technology evolution that we have seen. What RPA does, it helps you reboot the work in a different way, in a more efficient way. So what exactly is RPA? Let's talk about that. RPA is defined as a technology that allows computer software to mimic human actions by interacting with digital systems, performing simple, repetitive tasks and business processes. Now, it's a broader definition, but what it does, it actually helps you automate those mundane tasks that takes a lot of time in your day. So it mimics human activity, typically performed by humans. You know, all these actions that are typically performed by humans. What RPA does, it actually helps you helps mimic those actions in a more errorless manner. So let's have a look at in a graphic representation how this stacks up. So RPA emulates human actions. It operates any app with a user interface. It can process any data in a structured format. Plus point, again, works 24/7, 365 days, no leaves. So it is the most efficient you can get. And it's high on accuracy. That means that all the processes that because of human input, you were facing a lot of errors, you can outsource that to RPA, and RPA can take care of that in a more efficient manner, more consistent manner. Now, overall, this journey of evolution of technology, the repetitive or mundane task has led us humans overall, generally to develop this idea of RPA or robots. But we were not looking for just simple robots. We were looking for smart robots. And we want those smart robots to operate in certain domains. The first and foremost daunting task for any individual is to figure out exactly what process to automate. Should we have robots that can help us read the sales notes or read the invoices or help us read through the PDF, the piled up PDF versions of the contracts? There are a lot of use cases that can be checked. What we were looking for in general were the robots that have the reading and listening capabilities. And at the same time, they can also hold conversations so that your customer services component is being covered. So it not only just helps you smartly operate your own business, but also saves you a lot of time, as well as keeps your customer services, at the peak. We also thought about the collaborative robots. What I mean by that is robots, ideas shared together, and also robots can delegate the tasks so that we don't really have to monitor them all the time or supervise them all the time. So, so the idea, the baseline was that we will build robots that can manage the routines, and at the same time, humans can manage the exceptions because they're really good at that. So going about RPA, essentially what we were looking for are the robots that have the sense of rhythms. So what RPA does? RPA is rule-based. Robots are more accurate, faster, they're more consistent. Then we have non-invasiveness. What it really means, it does not require any major IT infrastructure or architectural changes or deep integration with the underlying systems. RPA is scalable. So if RPA is used, companies can scale up or down depending on the business needs. And RPA is future-proof. Now, RPA does work with a lot of technologies available today. Tomorrow may be a different story, but RPA does have AI technologies embedded into it that helps it adapt to the future, so it's future safe. And in the process of building an RPA solution, what we are looking for, number one, is to figure out what tasks to mine, what tasks to automate. We call this the discovery phase. Then we pick up the right robot. We pick up the smart robot that can help us collaborate the ideas. We can expand on the ideas that are already built. And then at the end of all of this, what is the ROR? ROR is the return on robots. So at the end of this whole process, you do want to know how much you actually saved. And that's where products like Insights were built. So this is basically the picture of what an RPA is. Moving on to what we want to talk about now is profiling. As I mentioned in the agenda slide, that this is going to be a really key slide for a lot of partners to figure out exactly what to automate, who to target, and what technology to pick. So in a sense, we're talking about profiling. We are trying to profile what sort of processes can be automated, are a good fit for the automation, what sort of verticals in terms of operations are better to choose from, or at the end of the day, what technology and is to be used. So when it comes to the sequencing of profiling, we recommend you, and this is just a best practice, but you can choose your way. You choose the segment you want to choose. You want to go for a process profile, and then you want to go further to the technology or the automation profile that you want to pick. So let's first talk about the process profile. Now, we have around 8 different areas, but obviously there can be creative ways to manage a lot of other automation options. But what we can automate, this is the question. We can automate high volume processes, which are business rule driven. They're highly manual, repetitive processes, and they have a chance for human errors. Then we can also automate rule-based processes. They're very much streamlined, clear processing instructions with decision making based on the standardized and predictive rules. Then low exception rate. Things are not changing. That means they're following a pattern, and patterns are well read by softwares. Then readable inputs. So processes that have a lot of readable inputs, such as emails or Excel files or XMLs or PowerPoint or PDFs, all these processes, such as, for example, the legal department, or for that matter, the invoicing or the order management department. These are the departments that you may want to think of having the automation start. Then also we can look at the high volume task, because high volume also means high number of errors, also means high number of manual inputs, and those are the areas that you do want to look into. They have high frequency as well. Now, also we do want to look at the flexible process methods, process for which processing method cannot be changed or do not require any kind of change in the underlying architecture. These are easy to implement. And then automate, you're automating, you're doing all of this for a reason. One reason can be saving money or ROI. And this is another way to look at departments or different processes of where you want to start your saving journey to start. This is also another way to look at it. So one of the simple way is, a good example can be a process that has a human work effort of minimum of 2 full-time employees. That's another way of looking at it. So this is how you profile your process, which process to pick. There are different segments you can pick from, depending on the slide. It can tell you what to start with. Let's look at the segments now. There are different segments. It's a common misconception about RPA that not everything can be actually, RPA is very much limited to certain processes only. But if you look at these verticals down here, like finance, supply chain, IT, HR, customer services, these are majorly, some of the backbones of the companies. And if you help automate those areas, you actually not only saving a lot of money, but also making it very, very accurate and error-free. So process to pay or order to cash or record the report or planning or monitoring or payrolls or address changes, or these minor changes at the customer services angle, these are all automatable segments. And now let's look at the automation profile. So after you have chosen the segment, after you have chosen the profile of process you want to pick, now let's look at what technology or what option of automation you want to pick. So industry refers to those automation profiles as attended or unattended or hybrid automation. Attended robots, they usually perform the routine tasks, act like a personal assistant, can be trained, can be programmed to do certain things in an automated fashion. One such example is the call center robots, and it can pull up information for an agent on the call, and it can save and retype and do all these kind of tasks for the humans. So what you can notice is the attended robots work hand in hand with the humans. Then we talk about the unattended robots. If you look at the far right side, the fully unattended ones, unattended robots, they require little or no intervention limited human interactions. These are basically transaction-based processes. They're task-heavy, backed by processes, and they run on schedules. Processes like invoicing, or putting inputs into SAP, or reading up those complex legal documents with an OCR. That's what we would consider as automated tasks, and they can be used through the fully unattended robots. A hybrid is a mixture of both. It does have a front end where the attended robot works in hand with the human, whereas it can also delegate tasks to the unattended robot sitting at the background, performing all those little minute details of any certain action. So automatically kicks off the unattended robot, whereas on the front end works with the humans. Combination of it's a combination of attended and unattended robots, and it's actually good. It's a good mix for a great user experience as well as user interaction. Now let's talk about the maturity phase, or where exactly do you stand at the moment in terms of your journey for the RPA adoption. We have seen over time these phases can be divided into 4 different phases. Phase 1 is when the partner is just starting the journey and he's very much tech focused. He want to know more about RPA. More likely the attendees of this call, for example, partners where they want to know, they don't know much about RPA, they don't know about UiPath, they do want to step into the market, but they're actually very much careful of what this technology can do. So this is the seeking phase, or what I call the understanding phase, where you would be acting on trying to get more knowledge about the technology itself. At that time, obviously, you do not want to experiment to the huge level, so you want to pick one department or one process and start automating there. Obviously, there'll be a limited ROI with that, but definitely would help you test the technology itself. That's what I call phase 1. Now you can, after the slide, you may be able to figure out exactly which phase you are in at the moment, but this may give you a good idea of how many steps you may need to get to a mature level. Once you're tech focused and once you have figured out, let's suppose you have automated one department, that should give you confidence. And that's where the capacity building starts. This is where the competencies start to emerge for you. And this is what I call the phase 2, or the establishment phase. This is where you are validating your awareness. So far the knowledge you've got, you have seen it working. Now you want to take it to the next level. This is an evolution process. And essentially what you're trying to see if you can repeat what you have done in one department or one process to the other processes at the same time. At this stage, your ROI has expanded, but it's still localized, very much so to a department, for example. And once you have gained some confidence around that, you'll be stepping into an adoption phase. This is where the real RPA conversation starts to happen. The creative growth patterns start to emerge. This is the expansion phase. This is where you start to scale up. You have seen a consistent ROI so far in different departments or different processes. You have established a center of excellence. You have checked the performances. They're fully consistent. There are a number of errors dropped down. You have ROI on a cross-functional level now. This is where you should be really confident now to move up to a level 4, which we call business focused. Now, these partners, business focused, are they at this stage, if you have followed this pathway, you are now at the stage of automation first mindset. And what that really means is that you know what the technology is, you know how it operates, you know how the ROI how the ROI conversations can happen. You have fully operational IOM model, and you have measurability or matrices or KPIs around the success factor of RPA. At this stage, you are one of the key partners who can go out in the market and start reaching out to your customers and expanding and starting conversations on RPA level. So just to just to rephrase, what we're looking at for a partner when they're starting is to pick up the segment, then choose the process. Once you've figured out the process, then pick up the automation profile. This slide just gives you an idea, kind of a heat map. At the bottom, you see highest automation potential. You can see all these darker areas. These are the areas which we are, these are just recommendations again, but definitely should give you some creative ideas of how to expand your footprint in the RPA market. Let's talk about the UiPath end-to-end automation platform. So UiPath is the only end-to-end fully automated automation platform. It takes you from the discovery phase that we were talking about earlier at the RPA definition level to a management and measurement level, and all the processes in between. So what you're really doing by adapting to UiPath's philosophy here, you're actually rebooting your work. So UiPath enables software robots to emulate people, giving these robots to the ability to see, think, and do tasks just like a human does. And how it does it is by adding an additional automation layer on top of your application. And with that, it actually makes very complex tasks very easy. It can automate very simple to our complicated tasks. UiPath platform includes a suite of products that allows the customers to discover, build, manage, and measure. On the bottom right, you can see different brands that really work pretty well with UiPath. So it is one step forward when you're picking up the RPA journey. UiPath is the absolute choice. Here's the product range, and you can reach out to Ingram Micro at any point about any questions around these. But as we have discussed, there are 6 different angles that you can look into, from the discovery phase to the building phase, or management, or running, whatever kind of requirement you have, from the project basis to the automation level. You can pick up a whole bunch of suits that can assist you in the process. If you need to get a quote for these products, if you want to know more about these products, reach out to us. We'll have our contact details at the last slide, or you can send us an email at licensingquotes@ingrammicro.com, and we'll be more than happy to assist. Or you can reach out to me directly or Vishal. Let's talk a little bit about the promos. So we have $100 USD promo on the approved deal reg. There's a cap to it, 3 deals per net new partners, and then $750 for every starter pack basic bundle. Again, all of this applies to the net new partners. All codes for the second promo, all codes must be issued by December 31st and order booked by 24th of January 2022. There are a few events. We have a very active schedule for foreseeable future till January, and we'll be talking to you and be approaching you, or communicating with you through multiple channels. One of them is the webinar that we are doing right now. Second, this is the first of these. As I mentioned, we have a whole series of webinars to walk you through this journey and make it easy for you. On 26th of October, hopefully, we'll have an RPA portfolio and positioning webinar. This is going to be a natural extension to this webinar, where we have established what RPA is. Now we're going to talk how to position your portfolio, how to define your footprints. We do have technical enablement session coming up in the coming month. We'll be covering process discovery using task capture. This will be delivered by our solution architect, Sean. We'll be sharing all their context at the end of the slides. From here on, I'll actually invite Vishal to step in. Hello, Vishal, can you hear me?
Yes, thanks, Umair, for going through all the slides. Then you did a wonderful job in explaining.
Thank you.
I can take it from
over here. To you. Yep, over to you.
Thanks. If you just
let me know when I can move the slides.
Yeah, just next slide, please.
Okay, cool.
So to enable partners in this success journey with using UiPath products, UiPath and Ingram Micro are in a global partnership, and hence we have designed or created a dedicated team to enable partners no matter where they are at in the RPA automation journey. So a partner could be just starting and may not know how to roadmap, how to structure their program, how to get started, or a partner could be a mature automation partner that has a well set up practice, just needs a bit of guidance, support, enablement, and then partners that are on the advanced level that can pretty much run all their engines by themselves. So the team is here to support all categories and maturity maturity level of partners. And that's why the names that you see here are the team members that will be supporting them. So I'm the partner success manager. My role mostly involves enablement, talking growth initiatives, setting up a partner program for new onboarding partners, just unblocking any roadblocks or assistance a partner may need to get started and start seeing their revenue with UiPath. We've got solutions, a dedicated solution architect, Sean. Sean brings tons of subject matter experience with UiPath. He's got 6 years experience with UiPath product. He is a UiPath MVP for 2021. And we already seeing great feedbacks from partners who are early in their journey, leveraging Sean's expertise to be selling, upselling, and increasing their revenue. So our solutions architect is available for you for all pre-sales activities, and there's no extra cost. So all the people that you see here are a part of a dedicated team to UiPath, which can be leveraged anytime. And on the operation side, Umar, who's the product manager, who was speaking previously, and then we have a dedicated quoting specialist, who's Ian, and a dedicated ordering specialist, Doris. And then the last 3 names you see on the sales and ops time are just escalation points of view, where the senior managers closely also manage or oversee the success for UiPath partners. So Umar, if you can go on to the next slide, please.
Yeah.
To begin with, things can get a bit confusing, whom to talk to, stuff like that. How do we get started? Who's the point of contact? So hopefully this diagram or table can give you a quick overview as to what questions or what topic who in the team on the Ingram Micro side can address. So for example, on the sales side, the general program level, quoting level, order status level, myself, Ian, who's the quoting specialist, and the solutions architect, they all can handle different types of questions on the sales side. Particular in quoting and transacting, you got Ian, as I mentioned, who's the quoting specialist, and then on product management level, Umar and also Sean, who's the solutions architect, you can have conversations with them. So just to help you understand where to direct the questions or who's responsible for what, this is just a quick table we've created, and again the contact details on the side you can see. Now if you are, I'm sure you've heard UiPath and they work on a partner model. If you're interested, the 2 important steps are signing up a partner agreement with UiPath, which will give you all the access to their partner program, their deal registrations hub, their training, quote desk stuff, all the good stuff like that. And then to procure license, you also need to have a transacting account with Ingram Micro, and then we can walk you individually through these 2 steps if you do decide to continue or are interested in becoming a UiPath partner. Umar, next slide, please.
Great. So this is basically the FAQ we have built. We both can take those questions up one by one, but generally speaking, the the RPA FAQs we have been getting is, can an ABC process be automated? The answer is almost anything can be automated. The real question is it worth automating that? That's the bigger question. So ROI is, so it's the way you look at the technology and the way you want to look at the automation paradigm itself. Second question is the process ABC cannot be 100% automated, so we shouldn't do it. That's another concern that we get. Now, there are only few processes that can be, actually only rarely 100% automation is actually achieved. Exception handling is usually managed by human interventions, and there are a few processes you definitely don't even want to automate. For example, approvals, authentications, and critical decision-making areas you do not want to automate. So it depends on your case-to-case basis, but it depends also how you want to look at the automation itself. You want to reduce the errors, you want to build more ROI, or you want to have a better customer services or error-free scenarios for different processes. It depends what is loading up your processes at the moment, so that you can take it off and outsource it out to the robots. Again, I'll leave the rest of the questions. These are the probing questions to Vishal. Can you address those questions at the bottom? These are the questions the partners can ask.
Sure, definitely. So these are high-level generic questions, I think, a good starting point. But I'm sure you would have your subject matter experts or partners that, or your end customers that you may already be working with and you understand the domain. So the questions can be then aligned to more domain-specific, specialized to asking the right questions to their manual work they're doing. And the heat map that Umar showed are exactly the points that or foundation where you can leverage back and see which are the highest process automation potential available, let's say in the finance department or HR. And if you have contacts in those departments, you can start having conversations like, what is one process that takes a lot of time and you've been struggling to work, increase it or decrease the time. And then quickly we can jump on one of our process discovery tool, which is task mining, process mining, run them on a couple of computers and show them a visual representation of how the current process is working, which gate is taking most of the time, which is really quick, and the platform or the product will tell you also how to optimize or how much time could be spent. So we will enable you and work with you and help you also do the selling in case you're not sure to ask the right questions. That's where we come in as an enabler to help you close that deal or work with that customer to find automation opportunities. But yes, these are good starting point questions. Is your end customer's business high transaction based, high volume based, or are people getting logged down into repetitive tasks that for some reason been repetitive day in, day out, and they haven't found a way to automate it? Processes that have high error rates. Of course, digital transformation is a priority for everyone, and organizations that do not take on the digital transformation journey, they're setting themselves up for definite failure. So digital transformation is definitely on agenda on every C-level executive's mind. So this is a question that 100% should be asked. So yeah, right. Those are the typical questions. Right. Back to Umar.
Great, thank you so much, Vishal. Once again, I really appreciate everybody who joined in the call today. There'll be a recording for this session available to you. We'll ensure you get the copy of that. We'll send you a PDF version of this slide, but definitely this doesn't really stop here. You may have questions. You may have some scenarios you want to discuss. As Vishal mentioned, we have a highly dedicated team. We have solution architect Sean, who can walk you through the technical scenarios as well. So all in all, you are in good company when you're with Ingram Micro. Again, I sound like a very marketing guy, but yes, this is true. So welcome to Ingram Micro, and join our RPA ecosystem. Thank you so much. Now we can take some questions. You can put your questions in the chat box. Seems like we don't have many questions today. With that, I'll give you your time back. Thank you so much, everyone who joined in today. Thank you so much, Vishal, for helping me out today for the awareness session. Again, our next session is going to be about positioning and profiling RPA solutions. Do join that, and we do have technical enablement session coming up next month as well. So we'll send you invites. We'll send you a newsletter with all those details in a day's time. Thank you so much once again. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.